So, good morning. Welcome to Building Globally Scalable Media Solutions with Azure Media Services, and the second part of two-part series. The first one was about video on demand, and this one is about live streaming content. And I'm also, of course, covering the basics of what is actually Azure Media Services. So the idea really for this session is to have you from zero to hero on Azure Media Services, and especially the more advanced topics or more differentiating topics. So we are talking about content moderation, video AI, and all that kind of stuff. So my name is Karl Ots. I come from Finland. I work at an Azure consultancy company called Kompozure. We only work with Azure Platform as a Service. And I've been working with Azure since 2011, and I actually, one of my first end-to-end projects was about media. We built a video store for Universal Windows, which was then called the Windows Store for Windows 8 and Windows Phone devices for selling media content through Azure. And I'm a co-organizer of our Finnish user groups on Azure, and we also have literally the coolest Azure conference with minus 20 degrees Celsius in Finland in January, which is called IgluConf. And yeah, so I work a lot on day-to-day with different customers on Azure. I've been working with media companies, for example, some local ones here as well. And you can very much follow me on Twitter. So Azure Media Services is actually not just one product, so it's actually a collection of products on platform as a service components. And it's actually basically a mix and match set of tooling like Visual Studio Team Services, so that you can pick one or more of these products if you have something of your own already. If you prefer to have your first party solution, if you have like an existing investment in like a hardware solution, if you're already buying from another provider some other pieces. A CDN is typically something with like telcos, they might have their own, they might have existing relationship with somebody else. It's very easy to bring somebody else to deliver that last mile of content to the end users. And so it's a collection of services, and the idea is that you can take any content live, on demand, any format, any size, anywhere, move it to the cloud, do your tricks and whatever you need to do on it. So encode it, maybe add some AI on it, analyze it, all of that, and deliver it to any customer with any device, anywhere in the world, basically. So that's a pretty bold promise. So obviously it's not like turnkey service that you just tick a box and everything is up there. So it's a very complex set of tools. So hopefully we can go through all of the major points here during this session. So some of the benefits of Azure Media Services are actually that it's not only for media companies or companies that have media businesses like telcos or broadcasters. It's been used quite a lot for analyzing security footage. There is all of the additional features on media indexing, for example, allow us to capture movement, say that at these time frames we have movement, show us only those scenes, or for example, internal town hall meetings, broadcasting to remote users from the headquarters. Skype for Business broadcast uses this as a backend as well. A lot of companies do remote learning, internal training as well, using Azure Media Services, because there's lots of analytics that you can do in the end as well, so that you can actually see who actually watched and how long there as well. So you can punish those who don't pay attention. So yeah, really the main kind of point there is that any type of video or audio content to any device, pretty much anywhere in the world. And there are some quite nice additions in there. So sub-clipping that's a media term, and sub-clipping means that if there's something interesting happening in the live stream, for example, like a goal in a soccer game that may or may not have been used or shot with the hand, we can actually clip that, sub-clip that part and publish that as video on demand content right away during that stream. Previously, in traditional media broadcasting world, that has been quite hard to do. You would have kind of been forced to wait until the end of the live stream in order before you can actually cut pieces and publish that on demand. So pretty nice stuff. We can react very quickly, post that to social media, maybe before our competitors if we are kind of in this news type of business. And also the instant live to video on demand transition as well. So again, the minute the live stream ends, if we want to, we can have that same content published immediately as video on demand content. And that of course gives us the same capabilities like we have on our TV sets or Roku devices and all of those, that we can have this time shift, so that if I'm watching the live stream, I can just hit pause, I can go and grab a snack, do my things, and then I can continue playing from that same second that I was in. Pretty good stuff and pretty powerful, something that previously required a lot of infrastructure to put in from beginning. There's a concept called dynamic packaging that allows us to actually have just one format of the video file, just one multi-bitrate format, and then based on the demand, so if there's a customer using 4G network with an iPad, for example, they get a certain resolution with certain quality, with certain format, even with certain copy protection automatically. We don't have to worry about that. Previously, we would have to have one version converted for all of those. So we would have to have one version with copy protection for iPhone, Android device, Windows device, etc. Maybe some fourth or fifth version, and then different quality settings based on the bandwidth available for the end users as well. So a lot of basically storage space can be saved using this basic dynamic packaging from Azure Media Services. And the first part of these talks actually covers that in more detail. So if you want to hear more about the dynamic packaging part, check the recording on that. And then the live advertisement insertion actually allows us to, when we publish our content on demand, previously if it was just like analog live stream recording, we couldn't refresh the ads, so we could only get the monetization that was relevant then. So if somebody was selling ads to a specific concert, for example, that was not relevant anymore like half a year ago when the concert was gone. But if the content is relevant, people are still watching that video on demand content. We would of course like to monetize on that. So this actually allows us to get fresh ad content at the start or in the middle of the on-demand video as well. So pretty nice. And very good quality, like Disney level copy protection, approved by all of the kind of associations in the media scheme, the MPAA, for example. So just to get kind of a little bit more technical here. So the end-to-end workflow, regardless of whether we are doing on-demand or live streaming, is really pretty simple. We have some steps, and as I mentioned, Azure Media Services has first-party solutions for all of those. But if you want to, you can choose to have, for example, content protection or encoding to be done by your own service or third party that you already have. Of course, it doesn't always make sense for all of the cases. So if you already upload it to the cloud, it doesn't make sense to use your on-premises physical encoder then anymore, because then you have to download it and re-upload it again. But for most cases, you can pretty much freely choose to bring your own if you so want to. So all of these can be seen as an independent solution or independent part of platform as a service as well. So we ingest or we upload the content, we encode it to different formats, and this is now the encoding and format conversion is pretty much transparent for us. We just upload one version and we can select from Azure Media Services that these are the kind of limitations that we want to adhere to, and then they take care of us. That's the dynamic packaging part. We automatically get the right encoding or file format for that. Then we have the content protection. We can actually protect the content when we upload it using, it's standard Azure storage, so it's HTTPS is there, and storage at rest is also nowadays using this Azure storage encryption service so that we can actually have transparently encrypted content for us at rest as well. So both in transit and at rest, encryption is available, and when we stream it to the end users, we can have basically all three DRMs. So the Apple one, the Fairplay, the Google Widevine, and the Microsoft Play Ready there as well. So pretty good setup in there. And then we go all the way when we reach the actual end users. Microsoft provides actual streaming endpoints with fixed limit of fixed throughput or promise of fixed throughput, and then we have the CDN capabilities and the actual end player as well. So this is how it looks like. So basically we get our original content into the cloud. We can have, typically we have our own live encoder already here on the on-premise side, but we can have it here from the cloud as well. So we can choose to encode it locally. That's what I'm going to do in my demo actually, or we can choose for Microsoft or a third-party partner to do that for us if we so want to. Depends on, of course, the capabilities that we have out there. If it's a remote location, we don't have much machinery on site, it makes sense to actually have it done on the cloud. Or if we are not kind of originally from the media space, it doesn't make that much sense to buy a huge truck with all of the live encoding capabilities physically out there on site if you can get it as pay-as-you-go method from the cloud. Pretty much makes sense. So we get that content onto the cloud. We have encoded. We don't care about the format anymore. That's taken care of for us. And as with traditional media, like if you just watch TV, there's a channel that has different programs on it. So we can schedule several programs into that live channel that we are about to stream. And each of those programs has what we call streaming endpoints, which is basically a URL that you point your device or your media client to, and then you can open the video based on the device and the endpoint communicating with themselves that what is the correct format in there. So let's open these animations here as well. Oh my god, there are so many animations. So I'm not a productivity person, so I'm sorry about the various transitions in here. Let's see if we can open this all up. Awesome. So just to kind of magnify into that same part that we had before. So we had what Microsoft Azure Media Services calls cloud live encoding. That's the kind of live encoding as a service from Microsoft, which is the new feature that's available for us. If we are new to the media space, if we don't have anything of our own, that's really interesting. And this is more for traditional ones. So if you already have our own encoder, so we encode the format, encode the video before we actually ingest or upload the video into the Azure Media Services channel that then goes on and creates our programs, and in the end the programs become video on demand assets that we can view there. And it is a complex service, and most of this is exposed as APIs for us. There's APIs for anything from Java to I think there's even PHP and Python, all of the basics, and as with all Azure services, in the end is just REST. So we can do anything, we can have all of the smart TVs, anything we want. But to get started, to get really understand what can I do with this, there's a great tool called Azure Media Services Explorer that actually helps us do all of most of the services or most of the solutions that are out there using the Azure Media Services. So it's a great way to try these things out before we actually create a huge project and maybe we find out that media services doesn't work for us after all. So let's start our demo. So what I'm going to do is the same thing that I had the picture. So I'm going to stream live media to Azure Media Services, and I'm actually going to stream that onto your devices if you want to participate in the demo. So I'm going to create a live channel, or these are the steps that you would have to do if you will do this all the way end to end. And I have this here as reference for you, so you can download the slides later as well. So we have to create the live channel. We have to, in my case, I'm using a on-premise live encoder, which is just software encoder for us. I'm using a trial version of a tool called Wirecast. To do that, you can use that one as well to try this out. I try to make this as accessible as possible. Then we upload or ingest the live stream content from that Wirecast into Azure Media Services. We have to have something called a Azure Media Services streaming reserved unit. So we have encoding units. These are just compute waiting for us, and they are doing the dynamic packaging, doing the encoding and format conversion. And then we have the streaming units. And streaming units guarantee, one streaming unit guarantees us 200 megabytes per second of throughput, basically. Then we have the programs. In the channel we have programs. We publish the live stream into one or more of those programs. And then we play it using this Azure Media Player that I haven't talked to you about yet. So let's see how it looks like. So let's do my productivity magic again. Oh yes, it worked. So just real quick, Azure Media Services is available from the portal there as well. So you can just go and select new service and go and select media service. I've created here one, so you can see how it looks like. And basically, if you want to try on-demand content, or how does the uploading, how does the encoding works, you can do some of those here from the portal as well. But as I said, if you really want to get started, you actually have to use the Azure Media Services Explorer tool. And I hope you can see this. I'm trying to walk you through what's happening here as well. So this is the tool. I have plenty of tabs in here, and as you see, it's not the best example of inclusive design or any other usability pattern, but it's just a demonstration tool for us to try out all of those APIs. I can upload a new asset here. I've uploaded plenty of them here. I can see my ongoing transfers. I can see my ongoing encoding or other jobs, and I have this live part here as well. So you actually see that I have a channel called Karl TechDays Demo 2 that's running. And I have a program that's running here as well that I've started a while ago called TechDays Amsterdam Azure Media Services live stream. And nothing that fancy in there. This is the Wirecast that I have here. So this is a on-premises live encoder, in this case just software called Wirecast. I'm using this to this is configured to talk to that specific channel in here. So I have a input URI here, which is just the standard RTMP URI, which I can then configure here to my Wirecast for this specific live stream channel. And that's my ingestion. I can have a preview, as in a larger media production room there's always a couple of seconds preview where they can do the cuts to ads and all of those. And I can publish this as a program. So I've actually published this program in a Azure Media Services streaming endpoint, so that this has a URL that anybody can watch. And so I configured that into my Wirecast here, and it's talking there to this program in the end. And if I go and select playback this program, I can select playback this program using Azure Media Player. And Azure Media Player is the last part of the end-to-end from ingestion into playing into device. It's Microsoft's own hosted player that takes care of talking to Azure Media Services and choosing the right formats and doing the client side of all of the DRM and all of that. And you can customize it any way as you like, or you can use whatever is in there. This is the most debug version out there. There's links to documentation, all of that. But the interesting part here now is that this is now live. I've been live for 30 minutes here and during the whole time. And this is actually something that is available for you to try out as well. So if you'd like to try your devices, bit.ly/td-live. Unfortunately, bit.ly is case sensitive, so all caps td-live, and you should be able to open this with any device that you have, so that you can try out the different format conversions. It should adapt to your local bitrate. It should adapt to your connectivity. It should adapt also to your device screen size there as well. So this is really powerful, and most of it comes from both the dynamic packaging from the cloud and also the Azure Media Player, which takes care for us about talking to the end streaming endpoint there as well. Working? Awesome. Very good. So I'll leave that open in case you want to watch it with the lowest possible resolution there as well. But live is happening here, so let's go and see what this Azure Media Player actually is. So as I mentioned, it is really a single player for any screen, any device, and this is really powerful part of the whole Azure Media Services. It's available up at GitHub. You can fork it, you can play around with it. There's plenty of plugins for it. There's Google Analytics plugins. You can do lots of analytics in there. You can have automatically transcribe, for example, subtitles. You can do all that kind of stuff. It takes care of us about anything basically. They detect what encryption DRM capabilities are there, what bandwidth is there, what's the screen size, all of that for us. We basically just have to insert it into our web application or web page, and then we're good to go. We are fully able to customize it any way that we want to. So about pricing. As with everything, it's pay as you go mostly. It's an Azure Platform as a Service set of tools. We pay for storage as we would pay for any Azure storage. So we don't have the zone redundant storage, but we have locally redundant storage, which is having that physical copy in at least 3, or actually the locally redundant is having that copy in 3 different locations within one Azure data center, but within different racks or different power supplies failure areas. Then we have the copies on the geo-replicated area and the read available one as well, where we have 6 copies. So encoding jobs cost, depending on how fast do we want to encode. the more units we have, media research units we have, the faster we can encode any content. But if we want to go with the slowest possible one, we can. I've calculated here an example of a full HD movie. Encoding that into the variable bitrate costs roughly €3.5, so for $4.50. Not bad. And the streaming units are available for us as well. They, as I mentioned, they have 200 megabytes per second throughput each. We can have as many of those as we want, and they cost a couple of €100 per unit, as long as they are up. And the live channels, for that we also have the actual live capability cost us a little bit more as well. So per channel, for that same content length, roughly €13 per 2-hour content. So for me, doing this demo, lowest possible resolution that I could get, and 1.5 hours, it's somewhere between 10 and €15. So not really bad, as long as I remember to turn it off in the end as well. All right. So one big part of the encoding and the different jobs that we have is the media analytics. And now Microsoft has rebranded this as Video AI. And this is just a branding. This is just getting most of the same work that Microsoft has done with AI and cognitive services, and bringing those together, integrating those with Azure Media Services as well. So we actually have quite a lot of these different ready-made integrated services here. There is audio transcript, which helps us to get all of the spoken audio in the video and just write it out there as plain text. It actually has quite a good language support, a dozen or so languages, and you can actually customize it so that you can have your own jargon in there as well. There's a great demo out there that helps us to kind of showcase that I'm quickly showing you in just a sec. Then there's content moderation. We can detect if there's any adult content, stuff like that we want to avoid from being uploaded. If it's a service where anybody can upload stuff, we can detect speakers from the audio. We can detect faces. We can detect sentiment. All of the stuff that Microsoft provides us from cognitive services side, it's just available us in there. And actually, a good example using the Media Services Explorer tool is a new service called Azure Media Redactor, which actually goes on and detects all of those faces and blurs all of those faces for us for privacy reasons. And as you see, it's similar to if I would just want to encode a file, or if I would just want to use any of those other video AI components. I've done this for one video here, so I can show that to you. I believe it's this one. Nope, it's redacted. Yes. So let's play this one up so that you can see how would that look like in a typical. Nope. My productivity skills keep amazing me. Let's go on to duplicate, and let's try that again. So redacted, playback, play with Azure Media Player. We have the manifest file, we open that, and so here we go. We have a quick video, and as you can see, whenever it detects faces that could be identifiable, it blurs them. And this is just a standard video that has been run once using this Azure Media Services content redactor tool. And it's, as you see, it's pretty integrated in there. It's pretty easy to get started using that and protect your content or do other types of analytics as we saw on the list there as well. Let's actually go and, nope, not yet, but some of those are available for live stream as well. Some of those video AI capabilities, and they are working a lot to bring, for example, there is already customers that have been using, for example, live audio and as well as text translation as well. So it's out there, you can do it, but it's a little bit more manual work at the moment. And that's one of the core focus areas of the product team in there. I mentioned video or audio to text, and this is one of the first video AI capabilities that has been out there. So this was called Azure Media Indexer before. Now all of this is called Video Indexer, and even the broader marketing term is the Video AI. So content moderation as well as audio transcript, they are both video AI capabilities using this Video Indexer tooling. And so the idea really is, as I mentioned, is to get that speech from that audio or video file. You can archive it, you can search it. A great example is Reuters, who's using all of their audio content, or who's archived all of their audio content using this in order that they can find relevant content for any news article that they want. You know, before, if they wanted to have anything like, for example, about Second World War, there was literally an intern running between the physical archives and finding something that somebody had maybe maybe remembered to tag manually. Now they can just search for Churchill. If they've indexed even the speaker in there, they can see that literally that same second when he's spoken about something. And as I mentioned, there's custom models available in there as well. And a good example is this. So, not this. This is a demonstration site indexing all of Microsoft events from Channel 9, basically. And if I search here with the term holographic, I can actually find the January 21st announcement with Alex Kipman when they announced actually HoloLens. And you know, this HoloLens is not a term that's, you know, in the dictionary, so Azure Media Indexer will be able to find it before, but it can understand the context about that they are talking about something new. This is the term, and I can actually go in. When I've done the indexing here, I can just go and click on this full 3-hour keynote. I can go directly to the part when they actually start talking about HoloLens. So that's pretty cool. Here are all of the parts. I can directly skip there. I don't have to watch the whole content in there. Very powerful, not just for media companies, but for training companies and those there as well. Our bandwidth is kind of limited here right now, so let's go on and leave this one for you to play along. It has all of the latest content there as well, so you don't have to be limited for just these old build keynotes there. And so the idea of Video Indexer, regardless of which this AI job you run, if it's audio, taking all of the audio and transcribing it, if it's moderating, blurring the faces, if it's something else, the idea is the same. You get the video file, you run the job, you publish that. It's pretty powerful. And actually to show that, it's actually integrated with different Azure services. I can actually show you the logic app that I made for this. So if you see my screen, I built a logic app that connects from my OneDrive for business and let's show that to you here. So it connects to my OneDrive for Business. It basically just listens to one specific folder. It says that when a new file is created there, add a trigger, index it using the Azure Video Indexer, analyze that and publish it into my Azure Video Indexer account. Pretty straightforward. So I can just start this one here, and I can show how does it look like. So I'm listening to this folder, Logic App Demo, and if I drop a new file in there, after it's uploaded, it's 40 megs, it takes a little bit. After it's uploaded, my job gets triggered in here. It starts analyzing the video file, and I actually get, as an end result, I get a JSON file with all of the different video insights that the video indexer gets us by default. This is not really usable, so let's actually, while this job runs, we can actually go ahead and check the video indexer portal and see what type of information do we get there out of the box. So this is simple. You just go vi.microsoft.com or videoindexer.ai, log in. There's plenty of public videos, again from Microsoft conferences. They like to showcase that. Bing actually recognizes some of the people. So if you go, for example, like build keynote, you actually get quite interesting stuff related to, they actually recognize that this is Satya speaking, this is Scott Goose speaking, etc. etc. So we have all of the faces available in here. If they don't recognize it, they recognize who it is. They can tell you that this is a person. Here are the places of the time that this person is talking, and they just don't have the name for it. You can teach the name and all of that. And you can go from the spoken language. You can go ahead and skip. For example, if I want to hear about app service, I can go ahead and click to that specific point in time. So about the same experience as in my portal, but a little bit more integrated, a little bit easier to use for not just power users there as well. And I've run this Logic app a couple of times before. So this is the same video that I showed you as a redacted version, and this is so it is just 1.5 minutes long. So it's not very much. There's not much to do, but we can go ahead and go to these interesting places like laptop and skip ahead to that part of the video, and almost a laptop. Good job. Cognitive services, we can go ahead and then teach it. We can go to the outdoor part. We can go ahead and skip to the specific phases in there as well. Here we go. Here's that same phase in there. Pretty interesting stuff that we get from Azure Video Indexer. So all of this is actually, the Video Indexer portal is just a portal. It's just for making all of those things easier for us to use. But all of these are actually available, as with cognitive services, they're actually available through Azure API Management. So there's an API Management portal that describes the Video Indexer API, where you get your keys, where you get your documentation. All of this is nicely usable from there, and I have the link in my session notes later as well. All right, so let's wrap this up. So Azure Media Services has been around for a long time now. They came out of preview after some years. It has been battle proven with I think 3 different Olympic Games, with Super Bowl, all of basically the largest on-demand or the kind of peak events that you can think of. So the kind of cloud proven and the throughput part is there. Now it's about integrating different Azure services in there integrating CDN. There's Akamai CDN that you can hook up natively in there as well. There's Verizon CDN, all of those. Previously, you used to work with access keys, just like you do with storage accounts. Excuse me. Just like you do with Azure storage accounts. Now you can actually have Azure AD integration in there as well, so you can create your own Azure AD user with specific role-based access control access for that Azure Media Services account, so that it's more secure, more reliable. You can monitor it using the same way that you monitor any your Azure AD users. So that's getting better. The management side is getting a lot more secure. Now that Azure Blob Storage has expanded, there's this archive storage, which is the cold storage, which is really inexpensive, but it's a little bit harder to get started with it. There's a cost of retrieving the data, but the actual having the data in there sitting in the storage is very low. We have the hot storage, we have the cool storage, which is in between, and then we have this cold storage. And Azure provides us ways to kind of have this life cycle of having the hot storage migrated into the cool one, migrated into the archival or the cold one there as well. And we have now support for files up to 5 terabytes, which is not that much if you're using 8K video, but it's already quite a lot if you're using Full HD or 4K videos as well. And then of course you can go ahead and split. There's the latest H265 support coming, so the HVAC. It's basically a new encoding format that provides us 50% better compression, so smaller files, same quality. The latest iPhone supports it, so it's probably gonna be quite popular. The media redactor, that's a new one that you can get out of the box that I showed you. Content moderator, you can scan and either block or encourage for this adult or profanity type of videos, and a lot of more of those tools as well. The live encoder in the cloud has gotten a lot better, so now we get up to 15 to 20 seconds of latency for the live stream, which is not bad actually. There's a great learning path for both live streaming and on-demand streaming available from Azure. There's a great set of, really screen capped, really, I'm really working here with you tutorials. And there's a lot of resources available. The great ones that I really recommend are the Azure Media Services Explorer tool. That's really something that's how you want to get started exploring the service. Literally exploring the service, and the Azure Media Player, even though if you don't use any other parts of Azure Media Services, if you're building websites that are providing video, that's probably a good place to start, because let's face it, not all of the formats, or not all of the formats work, and not all of the devices work with HTML5 video tags, so it's a lot better than that. There's a great demo site at aka.ms-amslabs. It helps us to play along with some of those. It's coming. It's almost there. It helps us to play along with some of those services that we are able to demonstrate. It's almost there. aka.ms/amslabs. There's great demos on the media analytics side, all of the media redactors, all of those. There's demos on media player analytics, etc. With that, I thank you, and I open the floor up for questions.